Fellas, how we doing?
Oh, here we go.
What a great day to be a United fan. As we just know, Liverpool just lost their first game at home since 2017. Last time I checked the table, Manchester United sit top, knocking Liverpool right off their fucking perch. How are we doing today, fellas?
Wow.
Only one person should answer that.
How are we doing? Ryan, how are you doing today, sir?
All I got to say is, ¿qué pasa?
So here we are today, folks. Just before this, Liverpool lost their first home game since 2017. 1-0 to Burnley on a late Barnes goal. I would love to get Ryan's current reaction on their team's form.
Shite. One word, shite.
Yeah, I was about to say, Butch is lost for words over here.
I think in the last podcast I brought up, I always say credit goes to where credit's due. Okay, we cannot score a goal. Did you guys see the stat? How many minutes we've gone without a goal? It's like
Getting close to Arsenal's.
it's like 410 minutes without a goal in the Premier
Arsenal
League.
hit like 600 minutes there. You're getting close to that. And that's never where you want to be.
Yes, there was
crazy.
some
Luke Shaw.
controversy today with the Mane incident in the 77th minute. Hey,
God, he is a rat.
hey,
Facts.
but all I'm saying is if we talk about,
It's a pen.
it's a pen.
It's a pen.
It's a pen.
I think I don't think it's a pen personally, but if you call the Burnley one, then you have to call
Yeah,
that.
you gotta call
I
that,
agree.
you
I
know?
agree with that because they're very similar plays. If I'm a referee, I think the ball is gone and it shouldn't be a pen for both of them, but the ref made one call and not the other. So I agree with you. But also at the same time,
Call it
you're the Premier League defending champs. That a pen shouldn't be deciding your guys' games against Burnley.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I mean, as I said, we can't score a goal. We're really reliant on, right now, in the last 4 or 5 games, we're reliant on Thiago making something happen. Like today, he had an off day. I didn't think he was great. When he has an off day, we don't click. Wijnaldum, great player, not a guy who's going to create or score a goal.
He had the
every
ban
game.
today, correct?
I believe he did.
Yeah.
Because Henderson was.
Wijnaldum can create.
No, he had the ban today.
Yeah, I'm pretty
Wijnaldum can create, but what I'm saying is he doesn't put up statistical numbers on a yearly basis compared to a guy like.
No, he's like 10 assists, 5 goals. Because that's like what you want out of him.
Yeah, that's what I would. If he did that every year, I'd be happy. But I think last year, if I'm correct, his stat was like 2 goals, 2 assists in 38 games. Fantastic
Nuts.
player, but doesn't
Nuts.
Won you the
Yeah.
Champions League with a banger.
did won us the Champions
Facts.
League by producing the greatest, probably the greatest comeback ever. One of them.
My question about this is I feel like it was just in a moment where a Liverpool win was like really necessary because it keeps them in like the top of the table, even though the top of the table's weight, like the meaning behind it doesn't have the same meaning it's had. And it still means shows you can take hold of a crazy league for a little bit. Like, I mean, definitely good, but like Chelsea was top of the league for a little bit.
of course.
Like,
I mean, we're unbeaten.
Southampton was top of the
13.
league.
my question though was, I thought this was going to be a big game. If you know the Premier League, you know that Burnley's defense wasn't fully fit until today, until last week. And when their defense is fully fit for the last 3 years, they've been probably top 3 defensive team
I
in the
hate
league.
when we play Burnley.
When
I
they're-
always hate seeing
when it's
Burnley.
been me and Tarkowski and those 2 wingbacks that will literally run for 90 minutes and hold your wingers down, and their midfield tracks in, then you got Barnes and Wood, your big thug up there. Like, it's a tough team to play against, but why did you play the lineup you did?
That's
That
a
didn't make
question
much
for
sense to me
Jurgen,
either.
man. That's a question for Jurgen.
That was going to be my next
That's all.
topic.
That's all I saw when I watched this game was like Shaqiri's good. For sure.
Shaqiri did play very well against United, though. He had a great first half.
I wish Shaqiri would leave Liverpool so I could watch him every day. I love him so much. But like, it just seemed like, is he the guy now? Is he going to start?
No, not in my opinion. If I'm being honest,
Salah getting a break, or were they literally? What's up with that?
thinking about as a coach, thinking about rotation, we just played United on Sunday. So 4-day rest, which is okay for Premier League level players. 4 days is sufficient. I think we'd all agree.
Yeah.
Okay. But we play United on Sunday and then Tottenham midweek. I think Jurgen Klopp was thinking, okay, we got Burnley. All due respect, probably shouldn't have done this because, as we said, one of the most dominant defensive teams in the Premier League when they're fully healthy.
In recent history.
In recent history.
It's tough to break down.
No, they
Very
are.
tough to break down.
Sean Dyche deserves credit because he's taken that Burnley team to 2 Europa League qualifications, finishing top 8.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? But you go to Burnley, like in my opinion, that's not a game that you rest. You don't rest Salah and Firmino against a team like them away from home. Yes, there's no fans. Okay.
When you need points as well.
You want to know what my biggest question, though? It's a guy that did play. What's up with Trent? Like, what's up with Trent?
Think he's got the yips like Timo?
He went from last year
what's his
being
name?
that young and being like my clear number one right back in the world to like
I'm blanking
he's a
on his
shell of
name.
himself.
I'm blanking on the left mid for Burnley. Give him absolute fits. The lefty. Great touch. Starts with an M. Starts with an M.
Everybody's been giving him fits.
Dwight McNeil.
This man had
Yeah.
Alexander Arnold in his pocket to the point where you can see it in Alexander Arnold's face where he's like, I need to win this next challenge. So then he's going in full force. And that guy's just whoop, like he's doing that thing where he's checking the ball, opening his body up and pushing it to the line. And Alexander Arnold's just running past him like it's.
I think,
But also at the same time,
yeah, go ahead.
Trent, I mean, it's not even this recent game. His last couple of games, he's not been in form. I forgot which game it was where he had 38. We talked about it last podcast, 38 turnovers.
He had a fair amount of turnovers today.
Yeah,
I think just people are just realizing whether it be the way that Liverpool are playing now because they don't have as much of the ball.
Virgil.
I think Virgil is huge in this.
And so he's being put in those situations where he has to defend more than he has before, and it's clearly being exposed.
Oh, absolutely. When he's going forward and he knows that he has Virgil van Dijk behind him, he's free. He doesn't have to worry about anything.
Can we get a pause on this? Do you know Virgil's looks like pretty good? What's his status?
So he's 3 months into his recovery. I'm guessing we're not going to see Virgil until August because he's going to want to play the Euro. And so they're not going to rush him back at the end of the season.
Yeah.
I just don't see Klopp risking his long-term fitness for that. But, God, do we miss the guy. I mean,
Not the same.
It's just not the same, man. You could tell. I mean, I remember when people were talking about when he signed for Liverpool, 3 years ago for that big sum. People were like, I just don't know if I'd pay that kind of money for a center back.
Yeah.
That guy has transformed our club. I mean, we would not have won the Champions League and Premier League without that man.
Yeah, you
There's
told
no
me
question.
you told me that Virgil van Dijk is already a Liverpool legend, and that hit home for me. I was like,
no, he
wow.
100% is.
1,000%.
Steven Gerrard didn't win them the league. Jordan Henderson definitely didn't.
No, it just hit home. He's only been at Liverpool for what, 4 years?
Champions
3 years?
League, Premier League.
Oh, I know. I agree. I fully believe he's a
no-brainer.
Liverpool legend. I just think it's wild that a man can come in and change a club completely.
No injuries. He'd be the unanimous best center back in the league, competing for Ballon d'Ors.
I agree.
Absolutely.
I agree. So this is just coming from me because Chelsea isn't doing well either, and we can talk about it if we want. But a lot of people are blaming Frank. Do you have any blame towards Klopp? Do you think something? I'm not saying he needs to be sacked or fired, of course, but do you think some responsibility in team
Rotation
form
of players, et cetera,
is on Klopp?
Speaking as a coach, I think the biggest thing right now is Klopp has to find a way to get them out of this in terms of motivational strategies, whatever it is. He needs to find a way to get them to understand that, okay, yes, we've dropped a lot of points, but there's still a lot of time.
Yeah.
The bad part is now we're banking on teams like United to drop points. And let's shout out to Man City. They are scary.
Yeah, they're the
Yeah,
team.
They're scary right now.
I was about to bring that up. The performance that they just had against Aston Villa, and Aston Villa played an incredible game. It was a very fun game to watch. But it was the first time that I watched a team and went, holy shit!
We looked.
Someone
at each other,
has to
we
have a
talked
great
about
game
it.
to beat them.
Wait, really? You thought that about them? See, I thought that about Man City up until that game.
So
I thought Villa would have won that. Or not, sorry. They wouldn't have won the game.
They would have been in it.
The
They
text
would have
I
been in
sent
it.
to Dan was Ebbs, shout out Ebbs, was because he said something similar, and I said, if they don't give up, if City doesn't get that sorry-ass goal, then my money's on a Jack Grealish 87th minute winner.
yeah,
Could have seen it.
Yeah, which you definitely could have seen it.
Because the way Villa were playing through their team wasn't like, oh, let's kick it long and get our ball and hope for a chance. They were playing through City just at a slower rate than City were, but it
absolutely.
wasn't like they were scrapping for chances. They were generating chances.
Absolutely.
And
That's why I said it was a great game.
That
To me,
being
it's
said,
just,
Villa's
it's the way
a
they play.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
it's the
that
way
being
City
said.
plays. Like it's when United played City in that midweek game, and they beat us 2-0. It's like I watched that game and I was like, yeah, we got a while to go.
Yeah.
Like we look absolutely nothing like that. And it's just like him and I talked about it after, like before we watched the United game. We looked at each other, we're like, dude, City.
Yeah.
It's like we both know it's just they play attractive football.
I think that's the biggest thing is the play style is just everyone's dream. That's
Well,
what
they have
we
their-
all. That's
they
like
have
when
their
I
team
play soccer.
figured
That's
out.
what I want to. It's how I want to play. Like I just think the way they play and the way they were playing against Aston Villa, I was like, wow.
But it would have lost them. I mean, sorry. If they don't get that goal, it's for
Yeah,
not.
but they also, bro, they had both teams had multiple chances, multiple chances to score goals. I was a great game. And I think, I'm trying to remember who said it in the group message, but they just win. I think it was Kurt.
It was Kurt.
Prunny.
He said City just win.
They just win games. They win those games that they need to win, and they've done it for years. And I think a lot of that has to do with Pep.
The way you accredit that to the goal where he was literally 20 yards off sides, ran in and picked the defender's pocket, saying that they just win.
I mean,
makes
but
me want to walk out the door.
Wait,
Excuse me,
what?
but those are those breaks you get to win a Premier League. Like it's like
I
I'm being
know, but it's
serious,
just
though, like-
I know, like that's just how it's always said. But just for me personally, crediting that to a play like that just diminishes Aston. Like that team's found a way to win. Yeah, let me hide 20 yards offside and try and pick the ball off your center back late in the game.
Yeah,
They're
absolutely.
gonna have to literally change that law now, so teams can't
Yeah,
do that.
I agree.
And
Yeah, that's a great point.
They found the way. They cheated the system because that. I mean, in a way, it's not. I mean, every single professional soccer player and analyst that talked about that was sickened by that play.
Oh,
Every single
how are you not?
sickened,
I
and like
agree.
to say that's the
I
way to
felt
win.
bad for him,
Like,
like-
yeah,
like
City's
being a center
City's
back.
my title favorite. The way they play is for sure. Like right now, that's I agree, but I can't say it for that game. Personally, like that game.
I mean, that makes sense.
Shelve it.
Well. To City's credit, even before this game, last podcast, I said that City was my favorite to
Yeah,
win
no,
the league.
we were just speaking on last
Yeah.
game. You said they find a way
Yeah,
to win.
well,
That specifically
yeah,
bothered me
of
because
course,
that
and
way
I
to win.
Respect that.
Trash.
I think
You got any thoughts on
the
this before we
attractive
switch?
football they played against Burnley was, I was like, or not Burnley, Aston Villa. I was like, wow.
My opinion on this whole matter is, we're going to give credit to Man City. I think we have to give credit to John Stones and Ruben Diaz. Those
John
guys,
Stone's the goal scorer.
dude, those guys. Have you seen their defensive record? Yeah. They have given up 13 goals all season in the Prem, which is the best defensive record in the league. And we're talking about
That's outrageous.
We're talking about a Man City team who the last 2 seasons has been shite defensively. Shite.
Otamendi.
Okay? You got a guy like Benjamin Mendy who's too busy about taking selfies with models in the stands and playing left back. You got a guy like Kyle Walker who's consistent, consistent, but you can't rely on Kyle Walker.
Yeah.
You got to have a backbone. And Ruben Diaz has changed the mindset. He's a fantastic center back. He's 23? He's 23 years old.
Yeah.
John Stones has a resurgence. This is the John Stones that Man City wanted.
Yeah.
when
They
they
thought
bought-
they were getting. That's what they thought they were getting. Yeah.
How? I
100%.
mean,
Unbelievable.
like when Stones was at Everton, you watched him play and you were like, "Holy shit, this kid's 18!" Like he just looked like he had so much composure. But at the same time, when I watched him play, I was like, he just needs experience. Like you could kind of always tell he had it in him.
He did.
But like as a center back, you got to know when to put the flash away and just
Yeah.
fucking play it to your right back and
lot of it
back
for
up
him was
5
mental.
yards. So I feel like it could have been Ruben Diaz, it could have been Pep, it could have been himself, but. I always kind of I don't know. I
was in
knew
a
that he
tough
would get here.
headspace.
I
It
knew
was
that he
like
would get here. He is
Big
so
transfer
talented.
to City. Big transfer to City, and it was one of those where, for like the first time in his life, he was almost like receiving so much criticism.
And they brought in Laporte, and he
They
was
brought
probably
in
like,
Laporte,
"What the
like
fuck?"
he's got competition. He never had that at Everton or anywhere, and so it's like he had to get over, in my opinion, like get that mental part of his game switched to where now it's like he's confident, knows how to work for his position, and he's playing the best football of his life.
Credit to Guardiola.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
And another player I want to throw in, and once again, you guys probably see this coming, but Phil Foden, I think, oh my
Playing
gosh,
super
he's
well.
been playing very well of recent, and he's probably one of my favorite players to watch right now.
I'm not kidding you when I say this. He is the next David Silva of that club. They did not. I remember
Quality.
Shawnee and I were talking about this in the Mecca group chat a while back. I think I sent a text out. I said, David Silva's leaving. Who replaces him? And Sean goes, the man's already there. And I thought you were referring to Bernardo.
Yeah, no.
because Bernardo's class 2. But I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, Phil Foden, this kid's 20.
That's what I said.
This kid's 20. You know he's their leading goal scorer this year?
He's got more flair than Silva too, though. Like he plays like him, but he's got that like I'll beat you with
He
two-step
attacks.
overs. Like,
He attacks. people.
Yeah.
And I was telling Dobes when we were watching the game.
Put some respect on. I hate David Silva, but you guys need to put some respect on this man's. What are we talking about? Like he won't attack people.
no. I'm saying.
Come
that's
on.
like,
Oh
I
my
love the
God,
guy.
he's taking multiple people on,
Foden
cutting
has
on his
more
left.
flair, though.
Lincoln, yeah, I mean, he has more. Foden
That's
has
what
more
I'm saying.
flair.
It's like
I
more of
don't
a,
even
like-
like David Silva, but the way you guys, man's got flair, man's attacks. Foden has more flair, 100%.
Oh, I think
Come on
David
now.
Silva. We were talking about this at
Man's a legend.
Yeah, he
I
is.
don't even like the guy.
We were talking about this at Nick's house, actually, over the weekend. We all linked up. We watched some games, and we were talking, and this debate came up, and I said, who would you take as the more impactful player for Man City over their careers, Yaya Toure or David Silva? I'm picking David Silva every single day of the
We
week.
played there for so much longer.
But if we're talking about impact and longevity and consistency, David Silva did it for 10 years. How many years was Yaya Toure great? How many years was he great?
Well, he had some injury
a
problems.
lot of years.
Not 10.
still-
Not
He
10.
had Around there.
David
Yeah.
Silva
But
was
he had
there from like
he
the
had
city
way more
beginning,
injury
their
problems.
resurgence. He won it all with them, and then he
Yaya
left.
went to Barca, won a Champions League. Like he's
And
definitely
played center back.
He's definitely still legit.
He's
Like,
legit, but he's not. I don't think he has the.
when you argue just Man City, David Silva's head and
Yeah,
shoulders.
but-
It's him
yeah.
and Aguero, and
Yeah.
then 100 bodies, and then whoever else you want to pick.
I agree.
From the 60s, right?
All right, I'm sick of talking Man City. We all know they're the title favorites. I think we can all agree on that.
Yes.
Title
Yeah.
favorites.
Yeah.
Liverpool currently sit 4th. What's the fix? Is it the transfer market? If you could bring one player in that you think is going to get you guys back to where you should be, who do you think it should be?
It's tough. I'm just trying to analyze what we desperately need at this moment in time because I don't think we need anybody up top. Our midfield's already overloaded. If I'm Liverpool, I'm splashing the cash for a center back, and I'm going for Koulibaly or Upamecano. Those are the two I'd go for.
Yeah. I think it's crazy with their, and I agree with you because I think Liverpool's attack is insane. But at the same time, you're getting a center back, but you're also not scoring goals. Like that's what your problem is right now is not being able to score goals.
Yeah, but we're also
if they had a
vulnerable.
center- I think if they had a center back, they'd be scoring more goals. That has a lot to do with offense.
Like it's the same thing we're talking about Trent. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
no, I
Virgil knocking diagonal
I agree
balls
that that's
70
where
Yeah.
they probably need the most. I just think it's interesting to think about like
could help
we want
goals.
a center back, but we need goals because that's kind of the same situation I was in when thinking about who do I bring into Chelsea to help them, and my first thought was a center back, and then I was like, well, we're not scoring goals, we're having trouble scoring goals. How is that going to help me? So then I went down a whole nother list. So I just thought it was interesting to bring.
Teams
bring
can
up.
play more aggressively if their center
Yeah,
backs
true.
are better. They have more faith in them.
how,
you're
how
taking-
likely are those?
You're taking so that this is them giving you the checkbook and saying clean slate, or Liverpool's checkbook, which is clean slate, and then go buy one player. You think it's you would grab Koulibaly or Upamecano.
Yeah, if I'm the chairman of Liverpool and I want a short-term solution, I'm going Koulibaly. He's 29.
That's what I was going to say too. So I don't think you can do it.
He's short-term. So him and Van Dijk, they could be great together. They're both 29, actually. They could be great together for 3-4 years. Upamecano's 21. He's the long-term guy. If you want to snatch him up before the big boys come in,
Him
like
and
Bayern,
Virgil.
oh, scary. It could be scary.
Yeah.
It could be. But I do know I read a source on Twitter. Upamecano, guys, is getting tracked by every top 6 club in the Prem,
it's been
Bayern
like
Munich and PSG.
Yeah, it's been like that.
He gone. He
Arsenal
gone.
said they were going to get him like 2 years ago. I laughed. And then the next month it was like Barcelona in talks. All right, so you got who you would take. Who are they going to buy?
If I'm being honest, knowing Liverpool, there's a good chance that we don't buy anybody in January.
It's an acceptable answer.
There's a good chance we don't spend a dime.
which is wild.
It is wild. It is wild. But when I think about it, I think they're just so confident in the fact that when Van Dijk and Joe Gomez come back, I think they're confident that they could be the future pair. Joe Gomez,
I like him a lot.
but he's so prone to a mistake.
I agree.
He's so prone to a mistake. I think he's got the potential. He reminds me of what we just saw for the last 4 years from John Stones. We saw John Stones at Everton be fantastic. get signed by City, and then shit the bed for what, 4 seasons in a row?
I think John has more raw talent.
He does.
Oh, absolutely.
He does. Joe has potential to be fantastic.
I think what fixes that thing that you has a mistake in you is a run of games, which he can't get.
No.
Like not like a run of games for like a half a season, for like 2 years as a center
But
back.
it's one of those things like at a club
Just need
like
game time.
Liverpool, like how many?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
That's,
you can't afford to have those mistakes
Center back
happen.
was the position. I was really curious to see which way you were going to go, and you said them both, so that's funny. But all right, so you don't think they're going to buy anyone? I kind of agree.
I don't think we spend a dime.
I kind of want to hear from Chelsea fan about this.
Yeah, I'm interested. We were talking about it earlier.
So, the question is still, the first one is who we would want if we had their checkbook.
Yeah.
I mean, and I know we said no Messi, or any of those guys. I would probably go with Haaland right now if I had.
They're in
if
talks
I
with
wanted, if I really wanted someone and we had no limits, I would want Haaland. I just think, I mean, Timo's.
You're gonna tell me.
He has the yips. I personally think. I think he just needs to have a couple of games where he finds the net and he'll be fine. But we need something. We need some goal scorer. And like I said before, it's hard because I think our team is so talented, and I think it was really hard for me to find a position where I wanted. But I go back to we're not scoring goals, and we need goals, and Haaland will give us goals. Now, realistically, who I think we're going to get is Declan Rice. Me and Joey Beeg, another Chelsea supporter, have been talking about this for a while, and Joey Beeg's very prone on getting him, or wants him very badly. But Declan Rice, he's 22. He's an England boy. He's best friends with Mason Mount. Frank has come out multiple times saying he wants an English midfield backbone, like the old days. Yes.
He said that?
Yeah. He wants an English side backbone.
Kovacic just like,
Well,
Jorginho.
Jorginho knows, but Kovacic, Conte, are like, what the?
yeah, so I think he's quality. He's already a leader. He's West Ham's captain, and I think he could be Conte's replacement because Conte's getting old at the end of the day. But also at the same time, I think he could immediately be put into. I don't know if he would start off the bat. I think it would be a fight between him and Kovacic. I think Declan's a better player than Kovacic, but
Kovacic is so good.
I agree.
Holy shit, was he the best player on the field for you in that last sorry performance?
Oh,
you had?
I believe 100%. The only thing that bugs me about Kovacic is he can't score goals. He hasn't scored a goal.
Declan Rice really can't either, but he'll hit a
Yeah.
banger from outside the box occasionally, about the same as Kovacic will get a give and go around the goalie.
Yeah, true. Very, very true. So that's who I think we are going to sign.
I think Declan Rice has the best range of passing out of anyone in the Prem under 23, 25.
But he's got that, and he's the guy that's also going to win you 50-50s all over the park.
And he's screaming, face red. Like I'm a big fan.
He's 22 years old. He's the captain of West Ham. I mean,
So if you don't mind me asking, as a Chelsea fan yourself, if you buy Declan Rice, does Frank kind of shift his mindset on formation and play a double pivot with Conte and Rice and then maybe play Mount free?
yeah, I definitely think that's the case. I think he's tried that a couple of times with Kovacic, trying to have Kovacic sit more, and I don't
What,
think
Conte box to box?
No, I went. He was playing the double pivot. He was having Conte and Kovacic sit and have Mason Mount, and I don't think it was working. And then he flipped to have Kovacic be the box to box. So I definitely think
has he done that?
done what
That lineup that you just said that they've tried?
the Kovacic and Conte
And
double
Mount.
pivot. Yes, and Mount.
Because I feel like the time that you've definitely.
Jorginho's another one.
I've
that they've
seen
done
them.
That
I feel like I've seen them do that with Kai, and they put Kai
Yeah,
there.
they've
but
definitely
I've
done
never
that as
seen
well.
it with Mount.
the double pivot.
Where they have two holding mids behind him,
Yeah.
and they
You-
let him
you could be
play
right. You could
as
be
just
right.
the industrious, like, center attacking mid that's also going to run everywhere. I don't know if they've. Seems like it could work.
I mean, my personal
Then they have
opinion,
to sit Kai. Timo
Yeah.
take a fucking hike right now. ZX, CP, and Giroud.
Giroud.
I think if you got Rice, that could be really scary in terms of not conceding goals. If you've got Declan Rice and Conte just absolutely shutting down the middle of the field, and you got Thiago behind you barking orders, you guys could be scary good. Maybe he's the missing piece for you.
Could be. He could be. You
maybe
never know.
he
It's
is.
so crazy
My-
that we're saying that, like, maybe he's the missing piece.
The Premier
just
League's
spent
crazy.
$200 million.
I know.
True.
You just bought
know.
Timo Werner, Ziyech, Kai
I know.
Havertz.
The talent's there. The talent is there.
And that's what I'm saying is I feel like it. Like I don't know if it's formation or maybe it is a Declan Rice. It's one piece, but like I feel like you have the pieces like between your front 4 or
absolutely.
5 rotation. I mean, it's like and Tammy's good.
I was going to say Tammy's
Giroud
quality.
can still produce.
My thing is, I think one of the biggest things, and this is just my opinion, our play style is so look for the cross heavy right now, and I absolutely hate it. Especially when we have, yes, Giroud and Tammy are both great in the air, but when Reece James is crossing the ball to CP at the back post for a header, and that's our game plan. I don't like that.
CP's like scary.
He is though. Like,
well, yeah, true. You're not wrong, but
he's
like,
got ups.
But I don't know. I think I said this in the Mecca. I couldn't tell you the last time I saw a shot from the top of the box from Chelsea. I could not tell you. Yeah,
Always.
He didn't do it last game. He didn't do it the game before.
He just missed. I don't think he hit the net, but he definitely took shots from outside the 18.
I promise. Well, yeah, he had a couple blocked. You're right.
Because every single time I'm like, why is it him doing literally everything?
But every single.
They need someone to score goals. They need to change the philosophy of their
he's our
attack.
best player right now.
I say it. I see him immediately doing it.
Yeah.
Like no one
he's 100% our best player right now, and I also think it's funny since our first podcast was just released. Dobes said Mount would be getting Lampard's water, so
he's our best player now.
Yeah.
My favorite, the thing that stuck to me the most from that was that in that same sentence you go, we start talking about their money and spent, and we just both stopped and they're like a Timo Werner.
Yeah, I know.
And then we just go, oh my God, they got Timo Werner.
And if you want me to be completely honest with you guys, going back to the whole crossing thing, I think our personnel has a lot to do with it, because when you have Giroud in the game, like, why would you not? Like, if I'm playing,
that's not what Giroud's even.
I agree with you, but like if you're just like, oh, I'm gonna cross the ball to fucking Olivier Giroud,
If
but
you can't get anything going,
I would almost, and I hate to say this, I would almost give Timo another couple starts at our striker. I think our defense is not playing the long balls over the top, which I think is another big thing in our play style that's not helping us, because it's keeping teams honest when we play a couple of those long balls over the top. And I think Timo's making those runs and we're just not seeing it. So I hope that helps.
Can Frank risk that though at this point? Like,
I don't know.
You know what I mean?
I didn't know we were going to jump into time. Timo Werner doesn't look like he wants to be playing.
You're right.
It's that simple. There's nothing to do with anyone around him not feeding him in any shape or way. Call it the yips, whatever. I texted Joe while I literally saw it. There's literally play developing around him, and he's just looking.
He has like no emotion.
No,
like, it doesn't seem like he cares.
Like,
to
when
be there.
when he made a couple mistakes, and then like he thought he got a foul, I saw him scream at the ref. That was his emotion. Like he's a great player. He just doesn't have it, and it's effort as well as it is like focus and a bunch of other things. But it's not. I don't think it's any formation thing. It's him. He's got to figure it out. Frank can pat him on the back, or he can tell him we're going to do this, or sell you. It's at the end of the day, no matter what anyone says to him, if he doesn't fix it himself, he's gone. So yeah, I agree. Start him more, and if he doesn't figure it out, all in on Haaland.
Yeah.
Or
Absolutely.
Abraham. But the confusion of not knowing what your attack is going to be driven by, because Timo's different than the other guys.
Every time Chelsea plays, I never know what the front three is going to be like.
No, and like that's not even necessarily a bad thing if like the guys are all doing the same thing, but it's way different if you're having Timo and Abraham is different than having like Ziyech or Pulisic or Cho or Pulisic or Cho or Ziyech. Like,
100%. We don't have an identity yet. We haven't found
so
it.
Either get Timo to figure it out or figure out that it's not Timo.
Yeah, agreed. And I'm 100% with you. We need to find a starting lineup. We need to find what is working and stick with it. And yeah, so we'll see.
All right,
moving on.
I'll go. So okay, so player that I think. So United obviously top of the table right now.
Have a big checkbook.
We do have a big checkbook, but like over the last couple of years, we're notorious for not pulling the trigger on that massive player, making that massive signing. Yeah, Harry Maguire is like a asterisk for me, because he's not a winger or a forward that you would look to spend all that money on. If I could bring one player in I could pick, I'm bringing in Jack Grealish. Absolutely 100% I'm bringing in Jack Grealish.
That blows my mind.
Oh, never mind.
No, yeah, I got you.
Why would you not?
I know.
I got you.
But where are you going to play him?
You play Jack Grealish likes playing the left. You slide Rashford on the right.
I like that.
Jack Grealish for Aston Villa plays that role to where he's just like Pogba does for us right now.
You're right.
Where he slides in that he plays a little inside role. He sometimes is a winger. He kind of goes whatever he wants. He would fit that role. What United is missing, we have that Bruno Fernandes, and Pogba's starting to get there. but Pogba's scoring goals.
Quality.
Bruno can pick that final pass, but like if you look at our front three between Rashford's a goal scorer. He's not really going to create many chances. He might have a few assists here or there, but he's not going to play that final ball.
His link up's not great.
His link up's not great.
Good.
Martial's
link up's better.
But he's still not. He's still not that
He's
guy.
got tidy feet and spaces that can link up with a guy like Bruno.
He's not consistent.
Yeah,
and then
Martial has been a shock to me.
Martial's been a shock, and then Greenwood is like the same type. He's a Van Persie player where he's not that creative.
No, he's on the end of it.
When he's on the end of it, so we really only have Bruno as kind of our engine to create like that. I almost think we need another player
Donnie.
like. So I was getting ready to say a Donnie Van de Beek, to where I think we've shafted him, and part of it is because I don't think we really expected Bruno to be this good, and so that's the role that he would obviously play. But I think if you could slide Jack Grealish into that role, I think it'll be absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, great players with vision. They play better with other great players with vision.
But realistically, it's like a player I would pick. I don't think it's going to happen.
Before you say your other one, about Jack Grealish's value, when you said where would they play him, I think any squad in the world, including Barcelona, would literally take Jack Grealish right now and put him in their starting squad next year.
Absolutely.
So
my question was more veered towards Bruno. I think Jack Grealish would start over Bruno, in my opinion. I was just, when I first thought of Jack Grealish,
it wouldn't even come down to that.
Yeah, I agree. That was just my first thought. I was like, Cam.
If Jack Grealish had the access to the talents that Bruno has around him, oh my God, he'd triple his stats.
Now, so I think that, and this is like where Luke Shaw, I think I have to credit United for bringing Alex Telles, because Luke Shaw has, these last run of games, has been in the best form he's been in a United shirt. He was absolutely magnificent against Liverpool. He was great yesterday against Fulham. And with that being said, I think we need to add depth on the other side. I want United to go after a player. I'm sure you guys might have heard of him. He's in the Championship. His name's Max Aarons. Mm-hmm. Plays for Norwich City. Mm-hmm. He's 21 years old.
Is that Sean's pick?
Lindelof or Bali? Who's your starting center back? Bye going forward?
He's like,
he played really well, but him and Harry are the.
Is like the third best center back in the league, easily. Anyway, Max Aarons, he's 21. He's 21 year old.
This is a realistic one.
This is realistic. I think we have a legit
Norwich guy, right?
Every single top club wants to sign him right now. He's the wonder kid. Norwich is currently 6 points ahead in the Championship. Max has started and played every single minute. He is one of those type of players to where if you look at Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who his biggest flaw is when going forward. He oftentimes looks like he doesn't know where to go with the ball, where to play it, or even when he tries to cross, it looks like he's just whipping it in because he thinks he's supposed to whip a ball in.
Let me verify that. Everyone here is better offensively than Wan-Bissaka.
I mean, I kind of agree. That's accurate. But if you bring in a player like Max Aarons, and if you watch his highlights, I watched him play a game against Keeper on. I looked up the stats today. He created 5 chances in 90 minutes and was only second behind. I'm sure you know your boy, Buendia. More key passes. I kid you not, I've never seen somebody play wingback that's more rapid than him. He's one of those guys that is pacey up and down the wing, almost the exact opposite of Aaron Wan-Bissaka, to where he's less strong.
Light on his feet.
Yeah, less strong defensively. But I think at times, like to play in the Premier League, you almost have to take those risks as a wingback, because if you look at a Trent Alexander-Arnold when he's so successful, if you look at a Reece James, these guys are so good when it comes to going forward. And if United had that extra piece, a lot of our goals aren't coming from service; it's coming from pens or free kicks or counterattacks, because we don't have somebody to whip in those balls. And if we bring in a player like Max Aarons, who is the top-ranked player in the Championship, it only priced at $22 million. It's a no-brainer for me.
Did you watch him when he was in the Prem?
No, he only played I think it was 8 games total when he was with Norwich. I didn't watch him much. I've watched him more now at the Championship.
He played against Southampton. I watched him for 90.
He's rapid. It's one of those things where I even went up and looked at his highlights before this, but just the fact that he's one of those guys that received the ball on his own end line, played a ball to the center midfielder hit a ping to the opposite wing. 10 seconds later, he's full dead sprint down the wing, making a run into the box.
Yeah.
It's that's just work rate. It's the ambition that I think that, and maybe it makes Aaron Wan-Bissaka coming in realize he's got to get better offensively. He plays better, But if not, I would fully be okay with Max Aarons taking the reins at wing back as a 21-year-old.
I'd be interested to see that just because I think we were talking about it earlier with Trent having that freedom with a good center back. I feel like with your guys' center back partners, kind of what Sean was saying before, I almost think you need a Wan-Bissaka who's so defensively minded right now.
It could be true.
Until you find that center back that you're not scared. I mean, and I think Bailly has been playing excellent.
People don't rate Bailly because he hasn't consistently got a run of games because of injuries. But right now has a consistent run of games, and he's currently in the best form that he's been in since I've seen him at United. And him and Harry balance each other out so well to where, but Bailly's pacey, and so it gives Harry that little protection that he needs because Harry does.
Physically, they balance each other out super well. I don't
absolutely.
think either of them are like super good on the ball. Which I mean, you guys aren't like I'm going to possess you to death team, so it's not like the most important part of your team. But I just feel like I would always want one center back who's like super competent on the ball right now.
Harry Maguire's underrated on the ball.
I agree. I said that on like 2 podcasts.
Harry Maguire's underrated on the ball for sure.
I know, and I was a Harry Maguire huge fan at Leicester because of that reason. How he would take that giant ass touch up the middle, and everything would collapse on him. He'd still figure it out, even though he's going at a snail's pace. I don't think he's good enough on it anymore. He makes too many mistakes.
Maguire?
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same thing.
Stresses me
He's
out.
played more minutes in the Prem than any other person.
I'm not saying he's not a good player. I'm saying just specifically for having center backs, I would want, I don't know, someone who's like a better on the ball. And he's good on the ball. That's like if I'm winning the title, you know what I'm saying?
No,
That's not like
it's one of those
Harry
things where
Maguire's
it's like he's gonna play because we paid $80 million for him. And I think it's one of those things where I'm in the same boat as Butch. Like another player that I would say is Upamecano. Like United is linked to him as everybody.
I've seen that.
I would love I think him and Maguire. I mean, Bailly is very good, or either Upamecano and Bailly. You know what I mean? But Eric Bailly gets a bad rap because of the rash tackles, and sometimes he tries to frickin' take two people on in the middle.
He's a beast.
Yeah, but he's a beast. He's one to sacrifice his body, like the blocks you see against Liverpool and all these big tackles he makes and everything like that. It's just unbelievable to me.
Lastly, let's go to
Shawnee boy.
Southampton fan.
Southampton Saints.
So
this one is the one that if you had the checkbook, are we doing that? You have Southampton's checkbook?
Yeah.
Or are we doing that?
That's how.
Oh,
Yeah.
Southampton's
Okay.
That's how I did
Yeah,
it.
you have to.
Right. I love it.
So, if I'm behind it, I'm putting together a heartfelt bid with a fair amount of money behind it, talking like 25, 30 mil.
I'm so interested.
But more so, you come to him with a pitch of, look, you've bounced around, you're an incredible talent, no one appreciates you, no one has figured out how to utilize you yet. Come partner with our striker, who's hot and is probably going to leave at some point in the next 3 years. Learn from him, take the reins of a steady team that's going to fight for European play as that number 10 or striker hybrid. I want RLC.
Oh,
Love that.
Loftus-Cheek,
I
Ruben
love
Loftus-Cheek.
that.
Because we're a possession team. We play pretty. That's all he wants to do. He
was
overplays.
unreal yesterday.
He
played
overplays.
very well.
He overplays on the ball, and it's because he's got Fulham teammates. Who, granted, I love Fulham. They play. And Anguissa is one of my favorite players to watch in soccer. But RLC, he's out there passing to guys that they just don't see it. They don't got it. They wake up every day. They don't got it in their bones. It's just that simple. They can't knock the ball around like our guys at Southampton can. Come in there, be our star.
I like this a lot.
Honestly, he would fit so well.
I think
He
I
would.
too.
He would.
That's who I want so bad.
Is that who you do? So you
That's
think
who.
it's not
No
realistic?
shot. We get
He's
in.
on loan,
He's
right?
go.
He's on
yeah.
loan, right?
I think
Coming
Chelsea's
back,
gonna
and he's going to say, I want to play or I want to leave, and he's not going to get to play, and he's going to go to like Tottenham or Everton or something.
But he's also that player that I could see coming back to Chelsea, and if he gets a run of games, like balling.
That's what I was going to say.
He's unbelievable.
I could see
All
him
the
staying
tools.
if he unlocks something in our
He
offense.
every time he touched the ball, like United was up yesterday, but every time he touched the ball, I was like, oh my god, like he had 2 or 3 shots.
5-star skills.
No, seriously,
Love
the
it.
thing is like he can
Love the
play, but
5-star
then
skills.
because it's so weird because he looks like he's such a tall player, but then he's got the
Body
quick,
control,
the
yeah.
quick feet work. He had a couple megs
Pogba-esque.
yesterday, Pogba-esque type stuff. I think he
Zidane.
would fit so well at Southampton.
I think he would too. I love that pick. I was not.
I'll talk to Ralph, but it's Friday.
You want to know who I thought he was going to say?
I thought he was gonna say Giroud.
I thought he was gonna say Gareth Bale, and I was like, no, Sean, no,
Come home.
I was like,
Come
no,
home,
you're gonna say
Gary.
that.
We have great golf courses on the South Coast.
That's like you were like a heartfelt. I was like, oh, he's gonna do it.
No. Player we're gonna buy. We are gonna do this. We're gonna get Demario Gray. I don't know if any of you guys follow him.
Yeah,
Is he on
the Leicester boy.
Leicester boy, yeah, the real quick boy.
Under English,
He's
under
rapid.
23
He's
English.
rapid, very rapid.
They've just tried to give him starts for like the last 2 years straight, and he can't figure it out. So he's gonna leave. He's gonna come to us.
Huge.
Which cool,
Love that.
cool with me. I'll take him. Che Adams gets better every game, but I mean, buddy,
Best name in the Premier League for sure.
Jesus.
Shea.
All right. So, changing topics on you guys. Us four were kind of talking about some topics we wanted to talk about today, and one of the big ones, and I'm actually very excited for because I want to hear these guys' opinions, is international teams who we think in our lifetime.
1995.
Yeah,
And on.
1995 and
94.
on, 94 and on. Who is the best international team in our lifetime? And
Let's
now,
clarify. Best 11.
Best 11 on the field.
Oh,
So best 11. So
We
now,
clarified that.
Yeah, we
clarified
did.
that.
Dang,
Not
okay.
based on results. but
I still
best
like my
11.
squad.
That's their
but
11
one of
pulls up
my-
in a bus, and my 11 pulls up in a bus.
Yeah,
So
right.
I'm taking your
Or
11
the
out
street.
back.
Who's
Got
playing?
you.
Who's winning?
All right, I want Butchie to start this off,
Oh boy.
just because
You're gonna-
I
yeah,
have
you're
a
gonna- he has to
feeling-
just-
Just get out of the way.
Yeah, that's why I want.
You better have a nice pitch around it.
I got a great pitch.
The Spanish teacher.
Yes, I have bias, and I don't give a shit. I am taking that Spain team from 08 to 12, man. I'm taking
Any year.
I'm taking any one of those 6 years. It was the same team except in 2012 they didn't have Puyol, but 2008, 2010 very heavily influenced here. That, in my opinion, that's the best ever international 11 to ever grace a field, in my opinion. And I'll tell you why. Okay, perfect balance on many aspects of the game. Okay, we all know that midfield's untouchable. You ain't touching them. Dobes sent a text today. He goes, "Butchie's gonna say that midfield can't be walked
can't.
around." You're damn straight, son.
Let everyone know who it is.
Busquets, or Biscuits, as many people call him.
Talking about the greatest team of all time, and he starts with
And he's
Biscuits.
the first name that comes out of his
Whips out his
mouth.
hand, Sergio Biscuits.
So Sergio Busquets,
Crying.
Xavi, and Andres Iniesta. All right, those three.
Quality.
Also rotating in my favorite player of all time.
Yeah, true.
Cesc Fabregas.
That's
False
wild,
nine.
right
Was
there.
it,
False nine,
Xabi
center
Alonso?
mid sub.
Xabi Alonso
Alonso.
was a backup to Busquets.
Are you kidding me? What are we talking about here?
Pretty sure
there's-
Xabi Alonso started some games.
The
in that
beginning
World Cup
half.
He
too.
did.
Yeah.
He did. Up front, that team had the likes of David Villa, Fernando Torres, David Silva, Pedro. Okay.
Pedro.
A hot Pedro,
A
bro.
young-
A hot, young,
Fernando Torres.
in-form Pedro.
Yeah, glad you added the inform there.
Okay. In the back, Sergio Ramos, Knicks' greatest defender of all time, Sergio Ramos. Okay. Puyol, we all know who. We could all probably agree. Puyol's one of the best captains to ever
Agreed.
play football.
100%.
One of the most passionate leaders I've ever seen in my life. Piqué, who was really young at the time, and complimented Puyol very well because Puyol was aging. Puyol was at the end of his career. That was his last shot. And at left back during those 08 and 2010 years was a guy named Joan Capdevila. I don't know if you guys remember him. Played for Villarreal. Played roughly 600 professional games in La Liga. Okay, very underrated player. Was the starting left back for the 08 and 2010 wins. And then in 2012, Jordi Alba came in. So Jordi Alba was the one big change. He came in very young.
Oh, poor Spain.
Took the reins. And lastly, we cannot forget about, in my opinion, the greatest goalkeeper in the history of football, Iker Casillas.
For sure.
He captained Spain at the time. He captained them to all of those prominent years. I just think that team is so complete. You know, you look on paper, it's like you got a guy like Cesc Fabregas and David Silva coming off your bench because the other players were so much.
Hey, starting 11 only.
I understand, but I'm saying but they're 11. Like I think we can all agree, like they're so rotatable.
Oh, I
like
agree.
even if you pull out Busquets, you throw in Alonso or maybe even throw Cesc
As
and
far
drop
as all
Xavi.
the teams go that we're going to say, they were the deepest for sure.
Incredible.
Absolutely.
Incredible. I just think that but most importantly, my biggest take on it is the way they played the game. I
It's
mean,
that beautiful football that
it just inspired
The
me,
dynamic
man.
of like the half Barcelona, half Real Madrid, like
Attack
absolute
you, but with
rivals.
beauty. Yeah.
And then they just played it like the most beautiful football you've ever seen.
It's just incredible what they did.
The Eker part is so wild because for me, Eker, if you call him the best goalie of all time, I won't argue it with you. But for me, what he was capable of saves that no one else could make. Like he would do like shots that were like kind of like De Gea, like to where like there's just no way that the
don't
human
think he's gonna
human
get there?
reflex
Yeah.
should be able to do what he did. Eker would do that more than any other goalie in the history of soccer.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Spain needed because they would have the ball for 90% of the time.
one-
The team
that
would
one
get
chance.
one
Yep.
chance, and he would stand on his head.
Always.
Crazy.
But I think that just relates to the most complete team.
Yeah.
Like you got a
Absolutely.
team like that, and the 10 guys on the pitch running around. You got Casillas and net. I mean, that's my take. I think that team's the best team of all time for international. So
It's definitely easy to argue, or not easy. But
I say we move on to Nicholas over here.
hit it hard.
All right, I'll go. Before I start, I picked a team that I would say if we were giving titles, there would be an honorable mention in this list because I think your three. We talked about who we were going to talk about before the podcast, and all three of your guys' teams I think are more talented than the team I'm going to say. So I want to start that off by that. I literally think that Spain team and Sean's team and your team would all beat this team, but with that being said, I still think they are quality and they're going to go back-to-back World Cup winners. My pick is the 2018 France team. One of my biggest points I was going to argue is the depth that they have. I think it is outrageous
Unbelievable.
how much depth they have on that team. And the starting lineup is, I think, incredible as well. Of course, there's some spots that I think could be better, but I mean, it's still incredible. Back line of Pavard, Varane, Laporte, and Hernandez. And I think Pavard is the underdog, and people don't know much about him, but I think he is quality, and he scored a incredible goal in the World
Worldie.
Cup final. It was a worldie goal.
Yeah, that goal's
He
so
plays
sick.
for
So
Bayern
sick.
now and is doing very well. I don't know his stats or anything like that, but I think he's very underrated and very good. And then a midfield of Pogba, Kante, and Griezmann. I think that is just insane. A stat that I saw that I think was brought up in the Mecca. Pogba and Kante, they've started 49 games together and they've won every single one for France.
That's just nuts, man.
That's
That's pretty good.
That alone is crazy.
Yeah.
And then the front three of Mbappe, Giroud, and Coman. And I think that is dangerous as all hell, especially with Mbappe running off Giroud. I think that is, people dream of that. And then just to throw out their backups, Martial, Lacazette, Payet, Tolisi, Matuidi.
Tolisso.
Yeah, Tolisso, sorry. Zuma, Umtiti, Mendy, Kurzawa. There's just, I
All
think
these
the
players
depth.
that play for top clubs in the
Yeah,
world.
I think the depth on that team is crazy, and I definitely think they're going to go back to back. But I think the talent on that team is
They could just play however. They could possess
Absolutely.
you, which was nice, but they could be direct like that. Mbappe,
Absolutely.
Griezmann, and they could just smash it to Giroud. You'd see those two guys fly past him, lay it back off to Pogba.
So before we move on to one of our last two, I just want to ask one question.
all right.
Who's the most important player in that team? Unbiased.
Oh, he can't even answer this unbiased. It's not
Unbiased.
possible.
It's Paul Pogba.
Okay. Why?
I think he is their creativity going forward. I think his long balls, especially kind of like how Sean just said, his long balls and his ability to switch the field is one of the best in the game, in my opinion. And I think on a France team with the speed they have and Giroud up top to do the hold-up play, I think that's very important. I just think he's their engine. I think if they don't play well, if he doesn't play well, then they're not doing well. But also at the same time, this team is full of talent. I think Griezmann is a huge part in that, and especially in the World Cup run. Mbappe, I mean, he's Mbappe. So it's definitely hard to say. But I personally believe that Pogba is one
Covered
of the
your
most
bases there. You gave some honorable
some
shout
good
outs.
takes.
Yeah.
Shout outs.
And I mean Conte's another one. Like, and I didn't even say Larry. Larry's an incredible goalie. He's the captain of their
Hugo.
squad. He's
Ugo.
yeah. Pogba, in my opinion, is their most important.
Man in form right now.
He is.
Man in form.
He is in form.
All right, I'll go before you. The way I always look at the game, it like has a lot of like tactics behind it. I like to see like matchups and like what can complement what, and if you can just implement your like your game plan over another team, and there's all those kind of aspects and levels to each matchup you run into. But the team that I'm about to say would just literally completely kick all of that right out the window. And all I think about is that mariachi movement music. The
It's the
they just come in,
them on the bus,
kick in
start
your
banging
door
his
and say,
hammer.
"What game plan, bitch?" It's the 06 Brazil squad. Across the back line, Roberto Carlos. They had this guy named Juan. I think Juan Jesus was his last name, but he played for Bayern Leverkusen. Played every game for him. They finished 5th in the table that year, but it was a pretty close. I'd say that's probably their weakest point, but he was a solid defender. He was played next to Lucio, Inter Milan legend, who's one of the best center backs of all time. Cafu on the other side. So their defense was locked down, but also at the same time, those wingbacks could completely burn you in a time where wingbacks weren't really coming up the field just relentlessly and taking apart your team. Then you get into the midfield, and when we talk about other like midfield greats, like I'm looking at the screen right now, Brazil loses 0-1 to France, and they're directly across from each other. It's Gilberto Silva and Patrick Vieira. And what's cool about Gilberto Silva at this point in his career was he'd been, when he came to Arsenal and he had left Atletico Mineiro in Brazil, there was like a big wage dispute for him, and it was like hanging over like a controversy in like the club, and that stuff made big news back in the day, like a lot more than it does now, like tax evasion stuff. So he was taking some stick. He was literally coming in to replace Patrick Vieira, the club legend, just won the Invincibles.
They're Arsenal's heart and soul.
Arsenal's heart and soul.
Yeah.
Comes in, wins 3 Champions League games in his first 10 games with the club against Real Madrid, a Shakhtar team that was stacked, and I think Lille. But he came in, won his first 3 games with Arsenal, took them to the Champions League semifinals. So he's in the form of his career, locking down. He becomes Arsenal's captain in his first year. So that's their rock, their holy mid, which Brazil desperately needs because the rest of their team is just literally out there having a party.
That's what I was about to say.
Unbelievable.
You pair them up with any team ever. That Spain team, they can possess the ball all they want. If Ronaldinho picks up the ball, juggles it over Iniesta's bald head, sprays that bitch to Ronaldo, he cuts inside, beats 3, links up with Adriano, he gets fouled. They put it down. 2 men line it up. Roberto Carlos taking it? Nah. Best free kick taker of all time. Janino.
You forgot one thing.
Oh, I'm not done.
You forgot one little thing.
What's that?
Ramos gets a red card.
Ramos gets a red card. Ronaldo has been terrorizing him all day. Oh yeah. The last one is Zia Roberto, who is just this cat who is he's a damn good player.
He's quality.
Yeah, damn
Quality.
good player. Played for Bayern, I think, for a while.
For a little bit.
But no, he was a quality player. But I think that team, when we talk about like these greatest teams of all time, all of those teams had like that structure and like they had like their game plan. When I look at this team as a coach, if I came to this team, it's just as soon as the whistle blows, it's just every man for himself.
Literally. I guarantee their coach goes in and goes, have fun.
Yeah, as an opposing coach, like if they took over the game, they took over the game.
Yeah.
Like, what are you gonna do?
It's
We talk
it's
about
the love
Ronaldinho.
they have for it.
Yeah.
It's that they
And
all
this is-
share it together. It's
this
the
is-
culture too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is prime Ronaldinho, which is arguably, in my opinion,
greatest player of all
one of the
time.
greatest players of all time.
Like we're talking about
It's the reason,
Iniesta,
it's the
Xavi,
reason
and
I fell in
them.
love with the game. Like watching Ronaldinho,
Oh my
it's like
God.
you just smile.
Oh, and everyone, I'm sure you guys all Dida.
Oh, yeah,
AC
yeah,
Milan
yeah.
legend. Their keeper, not bad.
Quality squad.
That's my gang.
Scary. Let's move on to our last one, Mr. Sindobri over here.
I have a feeling people can guess where he's going to go, but go. Eagles 5.
So just to build it, we're doing best 11. I think this team had the ability to win everything. If you look at the names I'm going to say on paper, they underachieved drastically. And I'm going to stay in the same year as both of you. It's the 2006 English squad.
Which is crazy.
If you look
listen
at
to this lineup.
I know,
you
no,
look
but we
at-
just said all those
all
teams.
these-
in
all
this-
in 06. That is wild.
if you look at the names that I'm about to name, so our front three, or as they played, we have, I don't know if you guys have heard of these people, Wayne Rooney,
How old was he?
Steven, 2006. So this is like Wayne Rooney's prime.
No, he's younger than that.
No,
Yeah.
he's 36 now.
Yeah,
So
bro,
that
he's
means
21 then.
21.
Frank Lampard,
21-year-old Vane.
Steven Gerrard, right? Okay, average, right? Then we have David Beckham, Joe Cole,
Beast.
and I don't know if you guys remember the only guy that scored the penalty when they lost to Portugal, I believe, a Liverpool player. His name's Jerry Carragher. He missed. And Frank Lampard missed. And Owen Hargreaves scored. Owen Hargreaves is their attacking midfielder. Now we go to their back four. Gary Neville on the right. Rio Ferdinand, John Terry, Ashley Cole.
Sheesh.
Goalie Paul Robinson. Arguably it should have been David James. But can I ask you guys who's missing from that squad?
Paul Scholes.
Paul
Jesus.
Scholes.
Paul Scholes.
Paul Scholes was retired from England at the time
Yeah, it's because they didn't get along.
because they didn't get along.
That's so wild. I think it's crazy.
That
the
English
difference.
team, that England team made it to the quarterfinals in 2006. They lost in pens to Portugal. Beckham got subbed right after halftime.
Theo Walcott?
Wayne Rooney got a red card in the 62nd minute, and they lost in pens. Portugal goes on to lose to France. France ends up going to the final. Italy beats them.
Zidane headbutts him.
I would argue that if Beckham doesn't get hurt, Rooney doesn't get a red card, who do you think's taking pens?
England's winning the game.
England's winning the game.
100%.
But to me, if you look at this lineup on paper, and then like if you even go like you're saying, you go to their bench, like
Michael Owen?
Jamie Carragher, Sol Campbell, John Terry's best friend Wayne Bridge. But like still like this lineup is like I'm looking at it, it's like Aaron Lennon, Theo Walcott, Michael Owen, Peter Crouch.
I'm pretty sure Theo played way too much in that World Cup.
He did. Like,
He might have played all right.
young.
but-
Like I always remember that Theo with like the Arsenal jerseys, the white on the sleeve, like just him balling.
Oh my God, who was the fastest player in Prem history? It's Theo Walcott.
But I think this team, right, like this team, just on paper, if you look at all these players that I'm naming, they're all in like the prime of their careers at that time. It's so wild to me that if you look at
Who's their coach?
it's the Swedish guy,
Sven-Goran Eriksson.
Eriksson. Yeah, it was a Swedish guy, Eriksson. But if you look at it, it's so weird. Like you're saying, the dynamic is the fact that they're missing Scholes, and what hurt them. That's why I'm saying best 11 on paper. They're there, but what hurt them is the fact that they all played in the same league. They're all on rival clubs. And back then, I think way more than they do now, they legitimately hated each other.
Oh,
That
absolutely.
tenacity,
it's not there anymore.
that tenacity that drove
It's
all
flipped.
of those players would have been so valuable to use
Absolutely.
against other people.
Against other people. But it's one of those things, and I think I don't know if it's the English culture. Or just
It's the brilliance inside of them. It's
or the
bad and
Premier
good.
League, but it's just like, or the media, or what it is.
I think
but
a lot of it is social media, and I also think that
Bro, the commitment to the game made them good. Personal.
absolutely.
I went
Isn't
every
it
day
wild
to
that
kill
it's-
you
Yeah.
with the
Dude,
field,
like-
bro.
Oh, I forgot who quoted it. It was like at lunch. It was when the England national team would come and sit at lunch, they would all be sitting at different tables by club. That's how they would eat their lunch. I think it's honestly completely flipped. You watch games now, Chelsea versus
It's academies and shit are like that because
Oh,
all the
they're
boys
just-
know each other
Yeah,
and
exactly.
they make
They're
it.
immediate.
I loved it like that. That's how we
No,
like.
that's what I'm saying. It's like you look at the interviews or you talk about the back in the day where it's like we're talking about. It's like the Vieira-Roy Keane rivalry.
Yeah.
Those dudes hated each other.
Yeah.
They literally would like before games be like, I'm gonna murder him.
Yeah.
Like he's gonna like it's just how the game was. It was part of their role to set that tone for their team. And I think that played a role into this England team. And I mean, yes, they made the quarterfinals. Yeah, I mean, Beckham gets injured, Rooney gets but still they underachieved. Regardless, I don't like. We could say they
All
might
these
win.
teams were great in different ways.
All these teams were great in different ways, but I think this England team on paper it just never reached their full potential.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's on paper they're unbelievable.
I
though.
feel like that's just England's what they've been doing the last however many years.
What they keep saying, it's coming home. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so quickly, I know we wanted to bring up the Bundesliga. I wanted to open it up before any of you guys say anything on one stat that I saw today that kind of blew me away. The goals race in the Bundesliga. Robert Lewandowski has 22 goals.
In 14 games.
Second has 12.
Is it shtick?
It is Weghorst from Wolfsburg.
Boy's having himself a year.
I think Holland has 12 too.
So Andre Silva has 12.
Good for him. He had a rough go.
What is Holland's way down here?
He didn't play for a minute.
He was hurt for a month or two. He had that injury that he picked up, which is why Dortmund's fallen off.
Leroy Sané has 4.
Bro.
Oh, Holland has 12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not in how many games?
It's probably 12 and 12.
Yeah, bro.
Knowing
Yeah,
him.
something wild.
Stats are insane. But yeah.
That's unbelievable, though.
Yeah, that stat blew me away.
It's like
He has
I'm
22
blown
goals.
away. I was blown away by the Holland that you were saying in 12 games, but like Lowe is at 22 and like what? What'd you say? 14? Oh my god,
That's
It's
disgusting.
unacceptable.
that is literally
It's gross.
That's disgusting.
And
you
I
just give him the
wanted
ball.
to bring that up because I know it's very close, and Butch is going to probably bring up some good points on other teams, but I think Bayern is just I don't see them not winning, especially with Lewandowski scoring goals the way he's scoring goals.
Who's your team that's going to challenge?
Well, first of all, I'm going to give a shout out to my work colleague who kind of inspired this.
Ooh,
today.
I love this.
Matthew Hillebrand. He teaches with me. He teaches German. He's a German guy.
Holy infant kid?
No, he's an older guy.
Oh, okay.
He teaches with me.
Hinkelbein. Sorry. go ahead.
German teacher, great dude, and he's a diehard Bundesliga fan. And we were talking today. That's why I brought this up with you guys. He's an absolute Dortmund fanatic, and we were talking about Dortmund's fall off because at one point they were not too far behind Bayern Munich. Now they're 10 points off.
10 points.
So, if I'm picking a team to challenge based on Dortmund's fall off, I don't know if they can recover 10 points against a team like Bayern. I don't see Bayern dropping that many points.
Dude, their form has been horrible.
They have.
Just watching them has not been great.
They have been horrible, but I promise you, Leipzig is going to give them a run because they have the best defense in Germany. The best. They have given up the least amount of goals. Their goals per game ratio that they give up is like almost not even 1.
And it's because they have the pivot in front of them, too. Sabitzer is literally so good.
Fantastic.
So good.
Fantastic.
Bayern and Leipzig have lost the same amount of games. They
Yeah.
both only lost twice.
There's 5 teams in the league that have only lost twice.
Yeah, it's
I'm pretty
crazy.
sure. There's like 4 or 5 teams
I'll pull it
with
up.
like
Yeah,
7 or
it's-
8 draws.
Yeah,
That league is absolutely insane. That's why when you were talking about the Italian league being more like, I don't even remember how you said it. It's definitely, the Italian league's more dramatic by far because of the Juve.
Yeah.
But this league is on some other shit with how much they keep tying
There's-
each
there's
But
other.
let's think
4
about this
teams.
real quick. Like, Bayern's going to win the league.
Dude, honestly, for me, Leverkusen's a fucking nice team, bro.
But here's my thing is that
They've got
I
a
think,
stacked, experienced D with a Conte-like holding midfielder and a goal-scoring the Schick dude from Leipzig who left Leipzig, went to Roma, and now is at Leverkusen. He's legit. He's 21, 6'4" striker's a beast.
it's like the thing for me is like it's like Leipzig, like they lost to Dortmund, which was for me it's a terrible loss for Leipzig because that's right as Dortmund. I think there was like
3-1.
I think it was earlier this year, wasn't it? Or earlier this month.
Yeah, it was 3-1.
And to me, that was like the game right there was like, all right, Leipzig the title challenger, or they're just kind of there. Because if they would have got that result, like right now, I believe there'd be a point off.
They'd
Dortmund?
be
No.
2
No,
points off
Leipzig.
Leipzig.
Oh, Leipzig. Leipzig is
If they would have beat
4
Dortmund,
points.
they would
They're
have
4
been a
points
point
off,
off.
yeah.
Point
Like
off.
to me, that was like your title challengers or you're not, because it's so hard to me knowing Bayern Munich and knowing the team they have and saying we're gonna like
Yeah, they don't normally drop to teams.
drop points.
But there are just so many teams that are. It's kind of like the Prim. They're like they can hold their own. Like teams that aren't losing, like Burnley's and like teams that'll give you that 1-0 shit.
It's
Like,
it. Bayern lost to Hoffenheim this year and Gladbach.
I don't think it's as easy of escape for them. There's other deep teams. If I had to bet, I'm going Bayern. But like Leverkusen and Red Bulls, obviously they're such a well organized club.
Nagelsmann's a
Right.
unbelievable coach.
Last year there probably. He's
Yeah.
gonna want to go out with a bang.
you know
Oh,
he's
yeah.
rumored.
I'll take him.
He's rumored at Chelsea.
I thought you were gonna say U.S.
No, he's rumored Chelsea.
I thought Tuchel was there.
German influence.
I thought Tuchel was their guy.
German influence with guys like Kai, with guys like
Tuchel,
Timo.
too.
I'm just,
In Frank, we trust.
I'm not getting
All right,
too
hot
far.
takes, and let's hit it.
Yeah. One thing I just wanted to say is what you were talking about earlier. Frankfurt is in 8th place and they've lost twice.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That league is competitive.
wild.
It is.
8th place and they've lost 2 games.
Also,
9 draws.
not to mention, I want to bring up one more point about this Bundesliga. It's such a good race, but one person who has been absolutely balling, and no, it's not the Polish man,
Marco Reus.
Davies.
Thomas Muller.
Thomas Muller.
Yep, Thomas Muller.
Thomas freaking Muller.
Leading
Guys,
the league in
bro.
assists.
this guy's on
He's
pace.
leading the league in
He's on
assists
pace
right
to
now.
break his assist record that he set last year. He
He's-
set 21 assists last year. He's on pace for 25.
He-
31?
31 now.
He may be one of my. I think one of you said it could have been Sean, but Thomas Mueller may be one of the most underrated players to ever play the game.
100%.
It's just the lankiness, the way he celebrates it. Like, it throws me off sometimes.
It's wild.
He's incredible.
The
Okay.
legend, Thomas Muller.
All right, hot take. Who wants to
Hot
start?
takes. I'm not starting. Someone else can start. My last hot take did not go over so well.
All right.
I said Sheffield
I'll
was
go
never
first.
Go
going to
ahead,
win.
go ahead.
Because it probably could be right on par up with yours.
Okay.
I'm going to stick with mine from last week for one more week. Chelsea's won the title.
Hey,
That was my hot take last week.
I love
It's
to
my
hear
hot
it.
take again.
I love to hear.
They have Hakeem Ziyech. If they can just let him play striker. God, just Timo is going to get 2 or 3 more starts, and then he's hitting the road. They're going to either they figure it out or they don't. But for right now, I'm guessing they do. Go ahead.
My hot take. I have to say, it makes me so happy to say this out loud. Liverpool's not finished top 4.
Wow, that was mine. Oh.
I mean, great minds think alike.
Yeah,
right? I
great
mean,
minds.
It's one of those things where I don't know where the goals are going to come from. They look like a shell of themselves right now, and I don't even mean to say that like chatting shit. It's just from the Liverpool we saw last year to the Liverpool now with no Virgil. But when you watch Liverpool, it almost looks like there's no hunger, there's no belief. It almost looks like they're second guessing the way that they play. And to me, that's one of the reasons. It's one of those things. Like even you see them like they lost to Burnley today, but it's like they're on a run of 5 games right now where they have not looked like themselves at all. And so I 100% think they're not going to finish the top 4, especially with how close it is.
So that's not your hot take. You think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I do think it's good. Well, I mean, it's a hot take for everyone. You know, I mean, nobody thinks
It
they're
is.
going to be out of top 4.
I don't think they
Well, I was going to say the same thing for my hot take. So instead, I kind of just wanted to give a shout out, if you guys are okay with that.
Yeah, sure.
To our boy Weston McKinney.
First trophy.
First trophy with Juve. Big claps for that.
Dude, he looks so happy.
Oh, absolutely.
Breaking it down.
He looks so happy.
The
Footwork with
USA
Cordado.
is
Just
very
hugging
proud.
Ronaldo.
Very proud.
Butchie, hot take?
My hot take for this week is that Bukayo Saka, the Arsenal boy, is going to win the Premier League Young Player of the Year award
Ooh.
Hot take?
As I say, I don't know if that's hot, but
over Phil Foden.
never mind.
It's a hot take.
I don't
Philly
know,
Foden.
dude.
It's a hot take.
It's definitely a hot
But-
take to me.
But Bamford keeps scoring. I'm going to give it to
True.
him.
Bamford's
Bamford.
27.
Stats.
Yeah,
dude.
he's 27, mate.
I thought he was like 24.
No, he's
Talking
27.
27 years old?
27 years old.
Holy.
Yeah.
All righty, boys. Before we end it, I always have to say it. Please follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Twitter. All of the
Like,
social
subscribe.
media.
Mecca of Banter.
Mecca of Banter, baby.
Love
Cheers,
y'all.
We're
fellas.
out.
Cheers.